Yeah, no, I'm live. It's just been a while since I used YouTube. Uh, so I'm just gonna kind of wait and see if anybody's gonna get on. I don't know if I can invite people. I don't know. I haven't been on YouTube in a while, so bear with me on this. But anyway, I gotta. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna share this with other social media too. Been having a problem with Facebook, and hey, who hasn't? So anyway, I'm sitting here. My name is Beowulf. Is my nickname. Anyway, I'm sitting here. I have some had some problems breathing the last couple of days, and I kind of have a little bit of symptoms or whatever. So I kind of self quarantined. And to be honest with you, why I self quarantined is it takes you here in East Texas. It takes you at least a week to even get tested. So I'm just kind of self quarantining and actually just keeping it real. Before I go too further, my condolences and my prayers go out to the folks in Louisiana that's getting hit. That's it over in the Beaumont, Lake Charles, Louisiana, all of the East Texas. We're getting. I live in Huntington, which we're just south of Lufkin. It's been raining here all day. We don't have high winds or nothing. But anyway, I wanted to mention these individuals. If you guys need anything or whatever, hit me up on my page. It's on Facebook, Steve Dubose, and I'll see what I can do. Well, the title of this, and this is going to kind of. I'm looking at this realistically. This is going to piss off a lot of Trump supporters. It's going to piss off a lot of Trump supporters. But here's the thing, and we have to be honest with each other, and we have to be honest. I'm not a Joe Biden fan whatsoever. I vote for Trump. I'm still looking for a reason to vote for Trump. But here's what we have seen in the last 2 weeks, and maybe like the last month. First of all, the handling of the COVID-19 situation by Donald Trump was totally irresponsible, because we are being told that if we catch it, we're supposed to self-quarantine for 14 days. We're supposed to wear masks. We're supposed to do all these things or whatever. And if we catch the COVID-19, we won't be admitted to the hospital. We will just be told to go home and wait it out or whatever. But unfortunately, our president, he got to use an experimental drug. Now, my question is that why can't this drug be distributed to all the citizens who suffer from COVID-19, whatever stage they're in? So, in other words, by him receiving this, he broke all the mandatory rules by the FDA. You can't use these. You can't use these products unless they're approved by the FDA. And as we all know, the FDA will take at least 5 years. People say we're going to get a vaccine within a year. Bullshit. It'll take a year just to get it on the FDA's desk for them to approve it. Then it's going to take another 2 years of tests so we can actually find out if this drug is actually causing more harm than it is good. So if you're believing that we're going to have a vaccine in a year, we may have, but it's going to be offered to the public? No. So this is the first stage that I wanted to hit on, because the fact is COVID-19 is affecting his run for president, and his frustration is showing up on Twitter. It is showing up in the decisions he's making in the White House. He's pissed. He's frustrated because he can't take out, or he cannot get in front of the storm, which is the fact that the DNC has got his damn number. Now, here, yesterday, I reached back in my files. I'm going to give you a scenario. Okay. So here's what happened. Let's break it down like a shotgun. President Trump was medevaced basically by helicopter to Walter Reed Hospital. He presented with COVID-19 symptoms. His first 24 hours were murky at best, because the fact is that he lost his oxygen down to 83%, and couldn't get it up above 90% for an extended period of time. Now, for you constitutionalists like myself, this dangerously skirts the 25th Amendment. Now, the 25th Amendment basically says this, is that the actual powers, the chain of command, which we're supposed to fall back on, would be utilized in case if the president becomes to where in a situation where he can't make the decision because of the medication he's on or the treatment he's getting or whatever, he can't make. Then the 25th Amendment applies. 25th Amendment applies. Then what he has to do is he has to sign over the rights to the vice president. Yes, he has to sign over a letter, has to present it to the vice president, allowing him to take charge of the situation until he can come off of these drugs or the side effects of these drugs that he is taking to make him better. This was not done. 25th Amendment states that you cannot actually assume the presidential powers as long as the president's still alive. He has to die for those things to take place, for the vice president to take place, the speaker, all this kind of shit or whatever. So he didn't sign over the authority to make these decisions, and he wanted to remain in charge, even though we never know. He was touch and go there for a while, and even if he wasn't nowhere near danger or losing his life, then he still was under the influence of other drugs or other treatment that may or may not affect his decision-making process. This is exactly why we have the 25th Amendment, to avoid these kind of situations. Now let's go into this a little bit further, and you guys are going to say you're reaching out there or whatever. Let me go into this a little bit further for you. The president was in the hospital. For 24 hours, we did not receive his actual condition. We did not know what drugs he was on. We did not know the ramification of the type of treatment he was getting. And we did not know if his oxygen levels were actually progressing. We were left in the dark. At the same time, within 48 hours, the chief of staffs were all quarantined. Army chief of staff, Coast Guard chief, all the people that we meet in the war room to make these decisions were on lockdown. Also, we have a war between Armenia, Kyrgyzstan. I don't know who the hell it is. Where it really doesn't make any difference. How the fact is, during this particular time, when the president was under sedation or whether he was on these drugs, Russia put 150,000 troops on standby to actually guard their borders in case Russia had to intervene. Now, Russia puts their troops up to $150,000. That's all right to take. That automatically pisses off the Chinese, and they're going to stand up. And they stand up and they say, "Well, we're going to put our people on alert, or we're going to put these people on alert as well." This happened. Meanwhile, we have the Joint Chiefs of Staff who are quarantined. We have a president who doesn't. We don't know if his decision-making process is actually affected because we weren't told. And right then, during that particular time, we have what we call that as a coup d'etat. We have no one who's actually in charge. Here's the reason why that comes into play. Because if the president is in the hospital for some reason, the American people need to be assured that he's able to make these kinds of decisions should they arise. We were not confident because we weren't being told the truth by the staff, by his doctors. So for a period of 72 hours, if you are a commander in the field, if you are someone who actually is in charge of troops or whatever, any order that came down from the president at that point in time with him, you do not have to issue this order. The vice president cannot issue these orders. The chief of staff cannot. The chief of staff can't issue the order because he's not elected, and our Joint Chiefs of Staff cannot act upon these orders when they're given from a person who is actually under treatment. People say, well, it's not a big deal. Here's the thing. We have this drug, Rasputin, whatever. I'm stupid, but anyway, we don't know the side effects of it. We don't know, or we weren't told, or we're not told the side effects of this because the fact is that they didn't want us to know. But for 72 hours in United States history, there was a coup d'etat. There was no one in charge of our military. There was no one in charge of our government. There was no one in charge for 72 hours who had the proper authority to issue orders in the defense of the nation or declare an emergency. Nobody had that. Nobody had this authorization. And all it takes is the president to sign over a letter. And it states in there as soon as he can as soon as he's cleared by his doctors, he can go back to full capacity, which he just did today. Then somebody, preferably the vice president, should take over and run the country until the president recovers and is able to fully maintain his job responsibility, which has only been issued today. This is why the Democrats are going to hit. That's why they hit yesterday. Nancy Pelosi came out and said that they're going to hit him with the 25th Amendment. Now, it doesn't matter. It's not going to get through the Senate. That's not the point. The point is this, is that it's to recognize the 25th Amendment. Our president ignored it. In other words, he was hard-headed. He was bullheaded. He was like, I'm going to come out of this. I'm going to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it, regardless of the Constitution and what the Constitution states. That's problem one. Today, President Trump went on an interview. He had an interview. And clearly in the back, you can hear him coughing. He still has the symptoms. He still has symptoms. He's coughing. He had to interrupt his speech or his interview three times to cough. He still has the symptoms. But he wants to hold a rally because he's worried about right now. In the Trump campaign right now, if you're one of his advisors and you're actually on his, you are part of the individuals who are working to get him back in office and get him reelected, you're panicking right now. And here's the reason why. Because Trump refuses to be handled. You can't handle Trump. Okay, that's fine. But it's gotten to the point to where, Mr. President, every time you take to Twitter, every time you open your mouth, every time it is being highlighted, put under a microscope, and there's doubts. Now, there are diehard Trump supporters going to go for Trump no matter what, and I understand that. Whoever you want to vote for, that's your damn problem. However, the fact is that I'm starting to have an issue because the fact is that we're not being told the truth by this current administration. I'm not feeling the warm and cozy feeling. Then I look at what issues that President Trump run on. Going to build a wall. Have Mexico pay for it. No, it's not necessarily true, is it? We're going to drain the swamp. Not one damn conviction, not even one even case went before grand jury. We're going to drain the swamp. Economically, we're going to make trade deals with all these other countries. Yes, it hasn't accomplished that, but yes, we've got a stock market that's so overvalued, and we see that yesterday because when Trump came out and said he was going to suspend all talks, the stock market went down 500 points in one day. Matter of fact, within 3 hours. This is something. Stability in our markets is something we need to maintain, especially going into an election year. And we can't have it doing. Because let's doing this, then your job is going like this, making decisions on a daily basis where they can make payroll or not. We need a steady stock market to where we have our businesses who can actually remain open and predict their future 30 days, 90 days where they can make payroll or not. We don't know how many more people will become unemployed. My point is this, is that we have had the airlines industry who was laid off. I believe it was $28,000 people from United, and there are more scheduled layoffs or furloughs to actually be taking place within the next 30 days on the airline industry. It's destroyed. The airline industry has went down 75%. So how long can they hang on? But we have a booming economy on paper. But in all actuality, it's overinflated. It is not it's not what's truly represented by the American people who are actually on the street. It's governed by big pharma, by the elite, by these individuals, so they can still take profits at the expense of others. Now, none of this is Trump's fault, so to say. but he is unable to act upon the things that he has promised, and he is unable to debate to get to these issues. Say what you're going to do. How are we going to overcome this slump due to COVID-19? What is our plan moving forward? What does the government have planned for us? It's under the Constitution. Here's where I have a problem with that, because the fact is that all we see now is just it's like it's like a ninth grade or seventh grade freaking student council meeting. Attacking each other is not going to solve each other's problem. What's going to happen is the fact is, where are the solutions that you have a plan? I cannot see where Trump has a plan right now. I'm not saying he's going to lose the election, but what I am saying is there's a bunch of battleground states that are actually leaning in his direction. Arizona be one of them. States that typically vote Republican are now questioning whether they want to vote Republican again. The president has inherited a civil unrest, division in this country that has never, it's not even been precedented. It's almost to the level of our Civil War. We have got people marching on government buildings. We have got people who are violating everybody's rights and violating our constitutional rights, and violating just because the fact is they think they're entitled and that they think that they can go ahead. And we still haven't got any answers on police reform. Meanwhile, this continues to happen. My thing is this: tell a freaking cop, stop shooting people. Stop shooting people until we figure this shit out. Stop shooting people. And with that, stop shooting people. But that'll never happen. No, baby, I'm on a video. So I went back and I looked and I looked at all these things, and it started to add up. And I'm like, okay, what is the president's message? Well, I don't know. He says he's going to do all these things, and it's the same thing that he was elected the last time. He says he's going to do all these things. Here's his favorite word. Oh, it's perfect. It went perfect. It was incredible. It was perfect. Those taglines are over with now, man. We are not perfect. We are not incredible. We are not. No, we're nowhere near that. And economically, you just want to bank your reputation, whatever, that you're going to be able to handle things economically. Well, let me ask you a question. If this market is solid and it's actually standing where it's supposed to be, why in the hell so many people getting laid off? We're going to have to deal with that reality within the next year. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Trump, Biden, Joe Shit the Ragman, it don't matter. Because it is coming. COVID-19, we have not handled. We downplayed it for a long period of time to where we actually now start to see that we are actually at, and trust me, I'm taking numbers from yesterday, 216,000 Americans dead. We lead the world in deaths for COVID-19. Constitutional questions come up or whatever. And here's the main question: is if you're a working man, or you actually have to get up and go to work, man or woman have to get up and go to work, take your kids to school or whatever. Here's what you're forced. Here's your decision you're gonna be forced to make too. I gotta go to work. I gotta pay my bills. I gotta put food on the table. COVID-19, if it gets me, I'm die. A lot of people that I see working, a bunch of guys I hang out with up in the morning when I go drink coffee up there. I work on the pipeline. I work in the oil field. I work in the lumber industry, whatever. And they say, well, shit, if I die from the COVID-19, at least my wife gets all the insurance. This is what the American people are having to make a decision on. Do I get up and go to work because the government, now they've put off a stimulus package till after the election. We have no idea when that's going to pass or if it's going to pass. So you really can't count on this money. And if you do receive this money, check back the last time you got a paycheck. How far did that actually go? Half of it. Probably wasn't even enough to pay your rent. There's no savior coming. There's no politician who is going to save us from the enduring problems that we're facing within the next year. These are all just red flags. These are all just red flags that the American people need to sit down and take a look at. But I will say this. If Trump gets elected, Biden gets elected, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter because the fact is we cannot change the inevitable. The days of us waiting for the government to come and be our big savior, they're gone. They're going to be doing what they can just to make sure that they stay employed. Like you see across city and county governments right now, they're doing all kind of shit just so they can stay employed, so they can get a paycheck. Fuck you, I'm getting paid. Fuck you, I'm getting paid. So the preface of all this is Trump is fucking up. Yes, he is. He's fucking up. He's fucking up royally because the fact is that he has to get off of Twitter during this election period. He needs, and in what, 27, 26 days, I don't know, anyway. He needs to stay off Twitter. He needs to listen to his advisors because he's on the defensive, and he has nothing to come back with except for verbal assault, things, just attacking a person personally. That's chicken shit, if you ask me. Run on the issues. What are your issues? COVID-19 bit him in the ass. Because the fact is, he thought, well, I'm invincible. I'm a Superman. I'm whatever. Guess what? When you start thinking like that, you find out real quick you're not. And here's a decision we have to make before this election as well. The fact is, okay, we got two people. We got one turning 75 years old. We got one other guy's 80, pushing 80, something, whatever. They both ain't too damn healthy. So you have to consider on who you're voting for. The fact is, who could be possibly running America? Who, if the president passes away, or if he comes incapacitated, well, who do you want to take over the reins? This is a serious question. So now this election period, you're not just voting for a president. You're actually looking out, predicting the future. If something bad happens to our president, what the hell are we going to do? Who's running the country now? I will state unequivocally that Kamala Harris, even though I don't really particularly care for her, she is setting herself up to be the president. She can't win it on her own. She can be appointed to it, and she will have the full backing of the House. It'll come down to the Senate. But it doesn't matter because the 25th Amendment guarantees her the presidency. This is just a worst case scenario. But this is something we need to be looking at when we go vote. Personally, I am going to vote in person. I'm going to wear my mask. I'm going to wear everything I may even put. I don't know. I told you I got symptoms by the time voting day comes up. It's like I probably either I'll be better or I'll be dead. I don't know. But I insist on actually appearing in public to vote because that's my right. And I hope that they have places where we don't spread the disease or whatever. But it's inevitable. It's inevitable. COVID-19 is here to stay for a while. What we feared is going to happen. We're going into October and November. It's already starting to get cold in some areas. Not here in Texas. Shit, it's still freaking hot as hell. But anyway, we're starting to go into the cold season again. As scientists have predicted that they were hoping that during the summer months, COVID would be stopped, that we would get it under control. But it hasn't. 260,000 people dying and counting. That's something you need to take a look at. So what we have to avoid against is the fact is that, remember, people start talking about the curve or whatever. The curve wasn't designed, or flattening the curve wasn't designed to save lives. It was not. All it was set there to do, all it was put in place to do, or the issue of doing this, the fact is that we could avoid a rush on our emergency rooms, hospitals, caretaker citizens, all of this, so we wouldn't get overwhelmed medically. And we have seen, in many states, we have seen where they've been on the brink, and we curbed it to a certain extent, but we still haven't flattened the curve. It's starting to spike back up again. I predict during the winter that it's going to get worse before it gets better. Now, people say you're a pessimist. Well, yeah, I am, because the fact is, I take the, people say all the time, well, it can't happen here. It's not going to happen here. It's not going to happen. I'm a military veteran. I have to think the other way. What if it does? Are we ready for it? That is something that we have to prepare ourselves for in the future. It's your own individual decision. It's on your individual vote. I don't get on here and try to tell you who to vote for or what, but what I am telling you is you need to think about your vote, because the fact is that there's too many things that are coming up within the last 26 days that are going to affect your vote or the way you feel about voting. The circus continues. We have Trump every day on a relentless rant, blaming everybody else, yelling and screaming at people, all this, whatever, and Biden is back on issues. He doesn't even talk to Trump anymore. He's talking about issues. Trump has lost to that endeavor because he hasn't addressed his issues. I mean, he says, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. Okay. We're Americans. How the hell are you going to do it? Okay. So American people are kind of getting skeptical, because the fact is, you know what? My first thing is, there's a lot of reasons why I still question this, because the fact is, you know what? Drain the swamp. We did not even get one conviction. I said that before, so I digress. So I started this channel on YouTube. I'm not very popular anyway. I'm just a guy, redneck, freaking racist, whatever. But I'm not all that, and people don't know me. But that's what you choose to believe. But here's the real deal. It's getting ready to get dicey for the American people. And our election, whoever we elect, is not going to save us from what's coming. There is no government that we can produce today that can prepare us for what's coming for us in 2021. We have a dysfunctional government. We have a dysfunctional government from the presidency, from the White House, to our state and House, and from our Supreme Court. We can't get anything done. And this is pivotal, because the fact is that whenever you start feeling the economic pain, it's going to get worse. And also the health impact of what COVID-19 is going. We're going to need to pass legislation at the drop of the hat to get things done for the American people. But here we go. This government, any government that had to pass, we cannot do so. We can't. So when you go to vote, maybe you should consider the other people who you vote on the ticket, who you're putting in there, because the fact is that, you know what, we need to have individuals that can actually push through things that we, the American people, are going to need. And we cannot rely on our government. We can't. We can't rely on them for a bailout. We can't buy. No, we can't. We're not a big bank. I want to bail out big banks, big companies. They don't bail out you and I are. So if you like my channel, please subscribe, please comment, whatever. I also have a page on Facebook and also Twitter. I share these videos or whatever. I'm not trying to get Facebook famous. I'm just trying to, and I'm going past the point of waking people up. I mean, I'm done with that. But hopefully there'll be enough individuals who I can actually put forth issues to make you think. I may not be right all the time. Hell, I'm trying, but it's something that we need to discuss. We need to discuss these things. And we need to determine our future instead of relying on people in Washington to do so. Please share. Like I said, I'm on Facebook, on Twitter, and I'll repost these or whatever. But thank you so much. I'd like to get some more people in there. Please invite your friends or whatever. It's an open forum too. You can, free speech here works as long as YouTube will let you. You guys have a good day. Be careful. Keep your head on swivel, man. And always stay frosty. I'm out.